The electric car competition isn't just heating up in some segments, it's practically boiling over. Mercedes-Benz EQA, VW ID4, Nissan Ariya, Ioniq 5, EV6, the list goes on, and all cars different in their own way, and all attractive to different buyers. We love seeing more options out there, and today, it's another one, Audi Q4 e-tron. We're going to get under the skin and give you all the details. Stay tuned. My name is Martin Lee. Welcome to the channel. If you like what we do here, make sure you hit subscribe and the little bell icon so you never miss a show. We are being treated to another MEB-based, dedicated battery electric vehicle. And if you're new to electric cars, that was probably all word soup. But all you need to know is that Volkswagen Group have designed a template, if you like, a platform on which they can build large or small vehicles for all their brands. It allows designers to store the battery underneath the floor. It pushes the wheels to the corners, giving short overhangs and more internal space, and it shifts the design challenge a little bit as well. It can make a car, especially an SUV shape, seem a little, I'll say, frumpy or van-like at times. So, the clever folks over at Audi have introduced two indents. They run along the side of the car. One of them starts just above the front wheel arch, making its way to the wing mirrors. The other starts at the tail lights and runs under the C-pillar to the rear door handle. This really helps stretch the eye along the silhouette of the car, giving it a sleeker and less boxy look. Overall, there's nothing aesthetically revolutionary about this Audi, but that may be its secret sauce. To the casual observer, it looks like another luxury Audi SUV. Now, you may pick up some subtle differences, like the grille being closed off. Don't need to feed air into a combustion engine, so you may as well blank it off for better aerodynamics, or lack of exhaust pipes at the back. But on the whole, relatively conservative effort from the team at Audi. And it's worth mentioning, the Sportback has a little more flair, looks slicker, and will really appeal to people who want the SUV crossover style with a more sporty appearance. Let's go inside. Audi keeps doing what Audi does best. Luxury, solid materials that are pleasing to the eye and to the touch. Cheap plastics you won't find in here. The finish on the seats is traditional Audi fare. Although there will be some vegan and recycled options in the future, but Audi aren't screaming that from the rooftops at launch. The four-spoke steering wheel isn't exactly circular. It has an array of haptic and swipeable buttons as well. That may take some getting used to, but worth trying out on a test drive. There's a fairly advanced heads-up display that shows you the usual speed and directions, and Audi have picked up the level slightly. It's even more ergonomic. The navigation directions will shrink as you approach the turn. It gives a almost 3D sense to this display. In terms of space, the Q4 e-tron, well, it has buckets of it. Thanks to the pure electric platform, the floor is completely flat. And of course, there's no transmission tunnel, so you get internal storage, cubby holes everywhere, about 25 litres of those. The passengers in the back can easily shift across from side to side, taking advantage of ample legroom. And in the boots, well, 520 litres of space, or fold the seats down and almost 1,500 litres of storage. Let's talk about performance. So far, all very Audi. Luxury interior, beautiful materials. And what about performance? Recently, Audi treated us to the GT, which has plenty of power and a launch control to tame it. Let's look at the numbers for the Q4 e-tron. Well, there are three different motors available. At the entry level, there's a 125 kilowatt motor, which puts out 310 Newton meters of torque. It'll get you to 100 kilometers an hour, or 0 to 62 miles an hour, in 9 seconds. That is not exactly lightning quick in the world of electric vehicles. There's a mid-level motor, which is 150 kilowatts. Again, 310 Newton meters of torque, but it'll do the dash a second faster. And then at the top level, you have the famous Quattro model that has all-wheel drive, 220 kilowatts of power, 460 Newton meters of torque, and that'll do you 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, or 0 to 62 miles an hour, in a bit more of an impressive 6.2 seconds, but again winning no drag race trophies in the EV world. It won't win top trumps against a Model Y, but 6.2 seconds, that's probably fast enough for most of us on public streets. In terms of driving dynamics, it's an Audi, so expect a planted, grippy ride, especially on the Quattro version, although it's a little early to tell exactly how it'll feel, but rest assured we'll get into one of them as soon as we can and bring you a test drive. Now it's time to get into the stuff that EV nerds really love, batteries and range. And the Q4 does not disappoint. There's an entry-level model, and it has a 55 kilowatt-hour battery, 52 of which is usable. The WLTP test cycle tells us that you'll get about 350 kilometers of range, depending on the standard or sport back styles. Then we take a step up. There's an 82 kilowatt-hour battery, 77 of which is usable. That's a big battery. That's pretty hefty. And I know we're seeing the likes of the Lucid Air with well above 100 kilowatt hours these days, but 77 kilowatt hours usable is really, really good for an EV. The WLTP test cycle tells us that you'll get anywhere from about 490 to 520 kilometers of range. So there's some decent numbers in there for Audi. Of course, real-world range is likely to be a bit less. Throw in the kids, the buggies, in cold weather, maybe going on highway speeds, and that range will drop quickly, but overall, really good effort from Audi. I'm always being asked about the price, and I know how much the competitors are. The VW ID4, similar car in different clothing. The Skoda Enyaq iV, similar car in different clothing. How long is a piece of string though when it comes to Audis, BMW, Mercedes? The starting point is only the start of the story. The Q4 e-tron kicks off just around 40,000 euros in Europe, but people, if they get the entry-level model, will probably still tick a few options. By the time you go for the bigger battery, the bigger drivetrain, the Quattro, and optional upgrades on faster charging, you're probably looking all in around 60,000 euros. Times are turbulent these days, but we should see production cars getting to customers the second half of the year. So it won't be a cheap car, but was an Audi ever cheap? You could say it's good value if you're an Audi buyer and it delivers everything that you want in a car. When you buy an Audi, it's probably more about the build quality, the brand, the history, the feel when you get in it, and you know exactly what you're getting. Why buy the Q4? Well, the competition is seriously hot in this segment. The main thing is that we get the Q4 e-tron into the driveways of people who might have bought probably the diesel counterpart, going back to their Audi dealer, maybe looking at a Q5 diesel to replace as their old car needs replacement, and hopefully they'll be looking at the Q4 e-tron and moving to electric. In terms of the competition, I've mentioned already VW ID4, Nissan Ariya, Kia EV6 and Ioniq 5, and of course Tesla Model Y, and the Volvo XC40 Recharge. Look, we're running out of time just listing them all off, and that's a nice problem to have. Deciding which EV you're going to buy is a great problem, and we're really looking forward to getting into more of these cars this year and seeing how they sell. So let us know what you think about the Audi Q4 e-tron. We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. We reply to everyone. We'd love to have that conversation going. If you had 50k in your bank accounts going spare, what would you buy? Audi, Mercedes, maybe Tesla Model Y? Well, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up so we know to make more like it. And we'll see you on the next one.